Hello everybody, I'd just like to quickly go over what I use in saltwater fishing, and what I mean by that is the saltwater fishing rigs you are going to need to know if you actually want to do any saltwater fishing with bait. This first rig is called the high-low rig. You're going to need about a foot of line, one hook to as many hooks as you can legally put on there. It's your preference. Some sort of stationary weight, and a swivel. To start off, take your snap swivel. Also, just keep in mind everything here is oversized so you guys can see it better. Change all this up depending on where you're fishing. Okay, take your snap swivel, go into the swivel end, and just tie it on. There you go. Now, you can take your weight and clip it into the swivel, or the snap. Also, I'd change like the weight to the surf conditions. Okay, just like that. Then you're gonna want to go a little bit up and make a loop like this. So now your line's like this. Take some sort of toothpick or a nail or something. Stick it. Okay. Hold it like this, where they're intersecting right. Let me get it in shot. The line is intersecting right there. Go over top of this side and underneath this side. Now hold it like that and just rotate it 5 times. And now you have this loop here. Grab your line, pull it through the hoop, like so, and then pull, and also keep tension on this, and pull them tight. Now on that loop, you can add beads or bells or floats, like by bending it like this and sliding them on. Or you can go bare like what I'm going to do. Then take your hook of your choice, stick the loop through the eye, then open up the loop and stick it over top of the hook. Like so. Then pull it all the way down and pull it. And now that's your first draw. Then go up as far as you want and repeat. Remember, make that loop. Take the toothpick or the nail, rotate it through, open up that gap, feed it through, and take your hook, put it through the eye of the hook, and over the hook shank, like that. Now, the finishing touch will be taking a swivel, or a snap, or some sort of attachment method, through the eye, tie whichever knot you like. I always go with the uni knot as it's a proven knot. It's giving me trouble. And like that. And now your finished rig should look something like this. Your 1 hook, your 2 hook, your weight. And let me move this out of the way. Like this. So the idea is, when it sits on the bottom, and your line is tight, depending on how tall your rod is, these hooks are going to be laying down, or if they have floats on them, floating up. keeping the bait up off the ground and in the strike zone, and keeping your bait suspended so the fish you're targeting can eat it. And you can also double up on fish with this rig. Okay, the second rig you're going to want to know how to tie is my favorite rig, the Carolina rig. All you need is, and you can do the snapless, but snap, put your weight on it, okay, take some line, and just stick it through once. You can use a slide, you can use whatever you want. Honestly, I prefer using this because it just works better for me. Okay? Now, this is your main line. Pretend that's your main line. Now, all you need to do is pretend that's your hook, okay? Or no, that's your leader, okay? What you do is you take some sort of attachment method. This split ring has a hook on it, don't mind that. Pretend like there isn't a hook there. And you can put some beads down here to protect the knot if you really care that much. Personally, I don't think the bead does anything. Okay, and attach your section of leader line to that same connector. Normally I'd use a swivel. I couldn't find a swivel. Attach that to the same thing. Oh, down. Attach it. Attach it. There we go. So, and then take your hook and put it on the end. Now this rig, you can buy pre-made with steel leader. I wouldn't do that because the fish can see that. And if you're fishing for pompano, you don't really need a steel leader. Damn it, keeps falling off. Okay, so the idea here is your bait, which is attached here, when you cast it out, the weight's on the bottom. The bait's, and if you're using live bait, it can swim around, but it can't swim around very far. Unless, of course, you let out line so it can swim, and then get eaten. Or you can keep it real close with a loose drag. The fish bites this, runs off, and it doesn't realize it's being hooked. Then you can lock down the drag. Then the hook sets itself, and you can reel. It pulls it up, and you get both the fish and your weight back. Okay, now this third rig is probably the simplest rig. For it, you need a sliding weight. Take it and stick it on your leader line. And your hook. And just tie your hook on directly. This is the knocker rig, and it's really good if you're fishing in a area full of snags. And the thing about this rig is, if you get, it kind of works like the Carolina rig, but if you get snagged on something, then you can put some slack in your line, allow that weight to sink, and then tightly pull it back up, and it will come up, and then it will slide down and knock your hook out of the snag. Okay, and the final rig is the float rig. For this is probably the most complicated. You're going to need a float stop or a bobber stop. You will need to stick your main line through the bobber. and you can use whatever size bobber you want. This is good for more inshore fishing, but for tarpon out in the Keys, you can also use it for that to suspend crabs. Okay, and your line comes out. Now, you want to take some sort of attachment device, or no, first you want to take your weight, a sliding weight, slide that on. Then some sort of attachment device, like this snap, which works really well if you're fishing for toothy creatures, so that you can quickly change out what you're using. Then you want to take your leader line, okay, pull out a section of it, and just attach that to your hook, and if you want to, add a bead. Okay, now that that's attached, you cut off the amount of leader you want and attach it to the attachment device, preferably with a swivel. I'm just gonna tie direct because I'm not gonna use this ever because the line's too thick. And then pull it through. And then there you go. You want to make sure you have, when you're fishing this rig, you want to make sure you have a bobber stop of some sort, whether that be a piece of dental floss or a knot. You just want some way to stop the bobber from just letting the bait sink all the way to the bottom. Okay. And the amount of fish you can catch with these rigs is very large. The double hook rig is more for smaller fish, like smaller game fish like pompano, whiting, fish like that, yellowtail snapper, maybe even, if you want to. And then the Carolina rig, the knocker rig, they're for your bigger game fish, like your grouper and your snapper. You know, fish that are really tough. There's also a lot of these are just the rigs I would recommend to get started into fishing, but there's a lot of other rigs you can use for situations. Also, that's what your bobber rig's gonna look like. Your main line with a bobber stop up here somewhere, depending on how deep you want it to sink. Coming down to your weight, so it'll float up like this. Let's say I want it to sink that deep. The bobber will be up here, then my weight and my swivel, and then my leader and my bait. Okay, so that's it for today, folks. Hope you had a good one. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.